G'day folks, how are you all doing? Welcome to another session of Farming Sim 17 on the Cherry Hills farming map. Let's get straight into it. We've covered, we'll just launch our game here. As you can see, we haven't really played much since our last session, so what we'll do is we'll continue on from where we last left off. So we talked a little bit about the farmyard. We might fast forward the time scale a little bit to get into daylight. That'll allow everybody to see things in a little bit more detail. So let's just wait for the game to load up. Technically I should have done this before we started the stream, but oh well. Game is being loaded, please wait. So we shall obey the instructions that we are being given. Okay, right, so here we are. Start. And here we go. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. So let's just fast forward that. I'm just going to tap on my time scale and we'll just speed it up until the dawn starts coming into play. We can still have another brief quick look around. We covered some of our machinery there and our barns, and we talked a little bit about this machine over in here, and talked about our New Holland baler. Got our grass windrower there. This I think is on, yeah, that is it. It converts the swaths into rows. I've got my couple of ploughs there. As I said, I don't do a great deal of ploughing. I might start ploughing in sequence. We might buy a couple more ploughs. These Lemkins ones here. These are I think they're a 9 furrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they're quite large. They cover a lot of ground quite quickly. So I might run 2 or 3 of those in the future. Here we go. Now then, here comes the dawn. We'll slow our time down back to 1 time. A little bit of harvest income there. We'll go and have a look at the other places where we are generating monies from. So now it's we'll just have a quick tour around some of our bigger tractors. So as you can see here, this is our New Holland T9. This is what they call an articulated tractor because it pivots in the middle, and we have what's the word, dual tires. That helps spread the weight of the tractor, and you can see it's pivoting in the middle there. And we can have a look at the cab view, and all the cab views from the majority of the tractors are very, very similar. The T9 and the T8s are very similarly laid out. We've got the controls up there, air conditioning, and so on and so forth. So let's just jump out of there, and we can have a quick walk around. I seem to be doing a lot of jumping on these maps. I don't know whether it's something to do with the map or whether I'm too close to the inclusion zones of the objects. Anyway, so there is our T9, all nicely washed and cleaned before this one goes out to do a bit more work. Now, as I think we talked a little bit about yesterday, we have our T8s here. Absolutely filthy. These guys have been doing quite a lot of work so far on the farm. I started out with what the map originally supplied us with, which was, I think, was a Massey Ferguson tractor, a big 400 horsepower tractor and a case, which was quite cool. But as I said, I'm a huge New Holland fan, or a branding fan, so I really like having all of my machinery under the one brand name. So right, so there's a little bit about this. So there's 3 of the tractors over there. Again, we talked a little bit about the Compass Master. We'll get that working again as we develop the episodes and go further. We shall do little workshops on all the pieces of machinery, just show you them in action. Again, you can see the yard a little bit better now. Now it's a little lighter. It's coming up to 5:15 in the morning. Okay, right. So let's have a look at the map of the whole farm. We can do that. We got our little map view down in the corner here on the bottom left of the screen, and we can expand that, and you can see, I think, just about where a little green light is flashing in the corner there, where it says digest sales. That's where our main base of the farm is. There are other bases around the map, but you can see there all the different fields. So I own basically 4, 10, 2, 19, 3, 1 and 15. So I've got quite a few more fields to buy, but the fields that I have got have provided me with close to around 1,000 acres already, which is actually quite a lot of work to do when it's only just me working on all the farm. So I try to manage my workers and my machinery to go off and do certain jobs. I'll send a fleet out doing cultivating, then a fleet out doing seeding and so on and so forth, and trying to keep relatively realistic approach rather than just buying 100 tractors and having them all spread out. I want to try to keep and maintain the costs, keep them reasonable and a little bit more realistic than blowing everything out on them. So I'll bring that up again. So as you can see, field 15, I've got these little yellow dots that you can see are marking out where I've already got farm machinery. So in field 15 we have 3 New Holland 1090s with their 45-foot Superflex headers on there, whirring away. I haven't turned the workers on, so they'll be idling. We can go over and have a look at there in a moment. What I thought we might do is, because we talked a little bit about the compost master and everything else, we will take our, what have I done with it? There's the question. There we are. Take one of our trucks and we'll go for a bit of a ride. Okay, he's nice and empty. So what we'll do, we'll go down to the biogas plant and we'll have a bit more of a wander. So here we go. We'll leave all of our yard behind there. In fact, before we get there, we may as well take a load of liquid manure with us so we can start processing that. So over here, yes, and I do know the gates are open before everybody starts reminding me. This is our dairy farm, so we'll just park up here next to our manure plant. Let's just manoeuvre him. Get him into position. There we go. He's... God, if you could drive, Kia, you would be an absolute legend. You really would. Can you drive? No, you can't. Yeah. Okay, let's back him into there and we'll start hopefully refilling. There we go. We'll take a load of liquid manure. So let's just jump out. He can carry on filling up. So this is our dairy. We've only got a couple of hundred cows, I think. I'm letting them just breed themselves. It's probably a little bit of a mess over here. We need to clear up some feed there. Cows have been rather messy again with their feed. So this is the main cow shed, if you like. And we can just have a little bit of a wander over in here. Got a milk collection point where we can actually directly take the milk to a sell point, or we can actually just let the game manage that, which is what I generally let it do. But, the Lely astronaut machines whirring away there. You can see some of my cows there. They're looking pretty good. Their status is pretty good as far as all of their feed and silage and water goes and everything else. I will check the water level. That's one thing that you do have to do. All animals require a consistent flow of water, and the cows do drink quite a lot. let's just have a little look at that. I'll just bring up my window to see where they are up to. I'll scroll across. Yeah, we're not too bad. They've still got 20,000 litres of water. Their straw's pretty good, and the grass is good. The silage and hay and power food, that's not too bad. I might top the power food up a little bit, just to keep them going. And I've got 212 cows, and they'll reproduce. The more animals that you have, the faster the reproduction rate. But the next animal's coming through in 2.5 hours, or 2 hours 21 minutes thereabouts, and then they'll keep chipping away as long as they're happy, and they've got all of their water, straw, grass, silage and hays and power foods. They'll keep churning away, and they'll keep producing milk and keep generating money for us, which is absolutely brilliant. So we'll just save points on the game. Now hopefully this chappie is full. Let's just jump into him. Yep, he's full. So we're now going to take this load of manure to I think what they call the biogas plant. So come out of the gates, we'll turn left, and we'll trundle along to the next little part of the game that I use quite extensively. As you can see there on the left, that's one of the fields that I own. I am growing canola oil, or oilseed rape as it's known in other parts, and on the right I am growing, what am I growing? I'm growing tall, shiny, orange, yellowy things. Maize, that's the one. Growing some maize on there. And then the bottom field, back way at the other end of the field, I've got to move the TW, I'll be growing some sunflowers. And this is all in aid of getting some pig food together, because once I've got a lot of pig food together, we can start breeding pigs, and they can start generating us some money as well. The next field on the left, as we're just passing it, is I haven't bought it yet, but that might be the next field that I buy, because that kind of completes the group section up on this end of the farm. So we're fairly close. We on the right we have our, this is where we can buy all of our equipment. As you can see there, I've got to pick that up at some stage. That's a logging trailer. I was going to do some logging, but I kind of got involved in other things, so it's just kind of sitting there at the moment. So we can buy all of our machinery there through our sale point, and we'll all be buying a couple more tractors at some stage, probably a couple more TWs, because I absolutely love those mods. I think they're awesomely well designed. Now, on the right here, we'll come to that in a minute. We'll do the biogas. There we go. Or the BGA. Now, so this is where we can make quite a few different bits and pieces. I'm going to take this load and I'm going to drop it into our separator plant over here. And what this will do, we can add straw and we can add liquid manure like we're doing there, and this creates just a good manure mix that we can use for feeding. Good grief, my crashing abilities are awesome today. So this will make us some basically manure that we can take across the road and we can feed the plants with some other bits and pieces. So we'll just let them fill up. So let's just see what it's doing. So we're going to fill up the main tank over here. And I have to give a bit of a shout out to, not that he's going to know it or anything, but there's a guy on YouTube that really helped me out with a few of the little bits and pieces. So big shout out to Let's Play Simulator. That guy there really helped me out with a few bits and pieces with one of his tutorials. So really appreciate that. So yeah, so Let's Play Simulator, he's on YouTube, so he's got quite a few vids up on there as well. So check him out as well. So what we have here is going to go into the separator here, and it's going to separate, and it's going to create manure. We need to put fresh straw in here, which I have done already. We're running a little low on that. I think this bay is full. I think we've got 150,000, and the reason why I do that is because I can transfer it just next door to keep all of my plants happy. And the plants are, we can go and have a look in a minute, but we've got several different vegetables that we're growing next door, and it requires compost or and manure to keep them going along with water as well. So now I've dropped that load off, we'll let that do its thing, and we'll come over to our other tanker there, because I'm going to top up the other machine that makes our fertilizer and fuel. So let's just fill this guy up. Okay, so generally what tends to happen is I'll just leave that guy filling up there. Once the compost master does its thing and you've got a load that you want to take, oh, I'm going the wrong way, we bring it to this sort of workstation yard here, and it will process our compost into, we can drop it off in here. We do get paid for this, by the way. Once we drop our compost off in here, we get paid for it. And what this will do, this will convert it into digestite. And once it's been converted into digestite, which is what's happening over in here, we can then go to another separating plant unit, and it will convert this digestate into liquid fertilizer, solid fertilizer, and biofuel. So let's jump in here, so we're nice and full in there. So now we've got a full tank of digestite. We can go and top up our tank over here. You can see it's coming up on the left here is the diesel fuel tank, and then we've got our solid fertilizer. There should be a little bit in there, which there is, and our drop off zones in here. So what we need to do, we just need to again reverse, and I'll see whether I can reverse. A high probability that I can't. Nope. Maneuver the mouse a little bit. There we go. And we'll drop this guy off, and we'll dump this load, and hopefully that will start processing for us. These machines do take a little while to kick in and start. I generally tend to let them get on with it and do it. Oh, it's kicked off and started now. You can see there we have our digestate going in litres, and then you can see the product that it's going to give us, which is liquid fertilizer, solid fertilizer, and biofuel. Once that is all complete, we can then collect what we need to collect and then take it back to the main farm, and this will continue to keep our levels high. You see I've got 50,000 litres of diesel there. I might take a load back with me once that is emptied out on the truck. I may as well going to head back to the main farmyard, so that it's always wise to take a load of something back with you. That looks like it's done, so let's jump back into the cab. There we go, we're empty. The gauge tells us so. Let's jump out of the cab view anyway, and figure out where I am, because as I say, I can get lost in a square room. We will take a load of diesel back with us, so we'll just come to our refill points here. We'll just hit our refill, and we'll take 20,000 litres or 22,000 litres with us back to the main yard and give us a bit of a top up. The fuel that the tractors use is not too bad, but once you've got a fleet of machinery, and the harvesters take like 1,200 litres each, around about that, and the big T9 takes quite a lot of fuel. On the T9, its only Achilles heel is it's incredibly thirsty for diesel. Um, I'd always like to try and keep things topped up, so I'm not having to always go backwards and forwards. So some days I'll spend just working on creating digest diet and using the compost master to keep everything topped up and make a big load before we start the next harvest. And that way, when I'm not having to do 4 or 5 different jobs every time I jump into the game, I can just concentrate on one thing. Okay, so now we've got a full load of diesel that we want to take back to the main farmyard. We can jump across next door to our, I don't know, sort of garden centre area. So this garden centre, we've got a few sell points. We can sell digestite and compost and all sorts of things here. I'll just park up there for a minute. Let's just jump out of the truck there for a minute and go over and have a look here. So we have here several greenhouses, and all of these guys produce different types of vegetables. I think we've got lettuces in here. Jump up and walking all over. And these guys each require compost, manure and water, and we can check their levels just by going over to this little control panel. I'm going to hit F1 and we're going to see what these guys need. They're not too bad. 53% on feed, they've got 55% full of water, and they've got 71% of compost. So these are my lettuces. So and these will just keep whirring away, providing they've all got their 3 key growing ingredients. They will keep on producing for us, and it all helps with the money income. All of these guys, you know, they produce, you know, a few $1,000s every day, and it just keeps, you know, the workers paid, or goes towards the machinery maintenance cost. Oh, my least favourite vegetable in the world, cauliflowers. Well, amongst with broccoli. These guys are looking okay. They've got a bit of food to keep them going. Got compost, water, and some manure. That's all good. On to the next greenhouse. So let's see how these guys are doing. These are tomatoes. Again, I think they're all pretty similar usage rate on all of these. So we've got tomatoes there. I'm coming along to the next one. We've got some pumpkins, I believe, in here. Let's just see. Yeah, these guys are okay. And the last one, we have melons, and these guys are okay. So we've got all these different stations there that continually grow, providing they've got bits and pieces, and they've got their core growing ingredients for them. We've also got fertilizer pallets over here, and we can basically drop our compost off here, and we'll get paid for our compost, and then we'll also get paid for when they're converted into pallets and bags of compost as well, which is quite awesome. And then at the back here, as we can see, we have a manure cell plant as well, that we can drop off manure in there, and we get paid for that. And we've got some wonderful, I think we can get in there, can we? No, I think it's locked out to the public. But you can see some really nice design aspects of the map. That's really quite cool. We've got, you know, a garden sort of centre here where we've got all different chicken coops that you can purchase, I guess. But I think these are static objects. But it's just nice to see all the detail that's gone into this map. It's pretty awesome. Alright, so the garden centre. Yeah, there we go. Sale, sale, sale. 50% off. Wouldn't that be nice? Wish there was 50% off New Holland tractors. Not going to happen. Alright, so this was our garden centre. It's a great little way to, as I said before, to keep the money coming in consistently. Every little helps, and every sort of little excuse my wording, so I can't seem to get it out. Every little helps when you've got streams of money coming in from all different little areas. Okay, so let's head back to our yard. Our poor old man truckers does tend to struggle a little bit. He could really do with another 80 or 90 horsepower really. He's not too bad, he's not got a trailer on the back, so we should make it up this hill not too fairly well. Okay, let's change the angle of the camera so you can see a little bit better. Up on the right here we have one of our closer sale points. This is can't remember what it's called now. USMC's sale point. It's very handy having a close sale point close to the farm. We can do runs to the sale point for grains with that guy, and it's a great way to make a couple of $100 really quickly off a couple of really big loads. There are other sale points. There's quite a few on this map. We shall investigate again further on another episode, but for now we will just get this load of diesel back and we will retrieve our TW35, who was just finishing up a bit of fertilising from our previous session, or the previous session that I was working on that field. So let us just fill up this old diesel tank on the other side. Here we go. Let's move him around there. Let's turn him around so I can reverse in. See, at some point I must be able to reverse the truck and take it steady. There we go. Okay, let's empty him out. There we go. I believe this meter takes a little while for it to show up, so that will bring us up to over 80,000 litres, which is getting better. There will be more to pick up and collect. Okay. Now, let's jump over to our... Oh, we need to be in a vehicle to use the vehicle management switch. Let's just jump in the vehicle there. We're going to go and pick up our Ford TW25. Well, it's actually a TW35. It's just listed in the group as a TW25, but it's actually a TW35. So let's go and grab this guy. Here he is. This is a... I'll fold up the sprayer. We won't need it. We've just finishing up a bit of the fertilising on that field, just as a bit of an experiment, I think, just to see how this guy was working with the sprayer. So let's zoom in a little bit more closely. So there you can see a great amount of detail on the modders have put into this tractor. Let's get off with the crops. Let's not drive over my wonderful growing crops there. We can go for an interior view. There we go. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. I can vouch for these. I've driven TW20s and TW35s back on the farm many years ago, and these do resemble a very close approximation to what they actually do really look like. On the sounds amazing. It does actually sound like a TW35 should. never going to get tired of that sound. Alright, so let's pull this guy into the yard. I think we'll go through the back way at the moment. There we go. You can hear the chickens in the background. Very loud chickens. I'll figure out we're going to drop the sprayer off. I might just drop it off into one of the barns and just keep it tucked away and out of the way. Here we go. The camera's going to do something really funny. There we go. Let's just move the sprayer into a there we go. You can stay there for the minute. I'm not too worried about this. I've got plenty. I've got so much space on this farmyard. It's not funny. So we'll just drop it off there, and it'll be absolutely fine. So I'll just park him up over where the other tractors are. I must have a look at getting that gearbox add-in. The only thing wrong with this tractor, and it's fairly true to the original, he only does 30 kilometers an hour, which is a little bit slow. It's not too bad when he's working in the fields, because there's nothing that really requires to go 30 kilometers an hour, but when he's working in the fields, absolutely fine. But when you're doing grain transport or something like that from long distances, it actually does make a little bit of difference. Okay, so we've lined them up against one of the T8s. So now the T35 back in the day was a big tractor. If you had a TW35 on your farm, you were doing rather well. And these were only superseded size-wise by the FW30 and the FW60 range. I can't remember whether there was another. I can't remember whether there's an FW10 or not. Anyway, the FW30 and the FW60, I believe, were Steiger tractors, and they were rebadged and painted as Fords. They were an articulated tractor, very similar to the T9. The FW60, I think, must have been around 360 odd horsepower, somewhere around there. Huge amount of power. The TW35s were around 186 horsepower, but you can see the size comparison to the new modern age of tractors by New Holland now, by the T8 435. I mean, it's dwarfing what was a very large tractor anyway. And I don't know if anybody's been to any of the YouTube websites, but the new Fendt 1050, or the 1050, that is 500 horsepower on a rigid base, I guess, chassis, and that is absolutely massive as well. I mean, it makes the little TW35 look like a lawn tractor. So I'm just finding it absolutely amazing to see how far the technology and the physical size and the huge boost of horsepower that these companies are starting to put into their tractors is just astonishing. Right. So what I need to do, we need to quickly go. Do we need to buy another? No. We do need to take another load of digestite down to the biogas plant. My big truck has already got a grain trailer on it, so what we'll do is we'll grab this guy here, and we'll just go and grab one of our Joskin trailers, and then we'll just take a load down to that, and you can actually you'll see the process of actually how we convert the compost into digestate. Again, my reversing skills absolutely suck today. It's only because I'm on camera and I'm hopefully being watched, which makes me a bit nervous, and generally tend to cock things up when you're a little bit nervous, don't you? Anyway, what we'll do is we'll come over to here and we'll fill this guy up automatically. Again, the camera has gone skew whiff as it always does. This trailer will take about 47,000 litres, and then we'll head over to the biogas plant and we'll drop this off. We'll pick up a bit of money for it, but it will also continue to make some more digestite, so we can then use that to make some more fertiliser, biofuel and liquid fertiliser. One of the two. It makes both. Okay, so let's hightail over to there. I must admit the TH do make quite a nice sound as well. I guess the other technology that's really moved on, and doing a little bit of research into the smaller end of the scale of the tractors, like the Massey 5600s and the 5700s, they're becoming hugely efficient with the smaller engines. I think the 5700 has a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine in it, and it produces about 130 horsepower, I think, which is quite astonishing, considering back on the farm with our T-dubs and our little Massey 698T, that was producing around 90, well, depending on how it was spec'd out, around about the 90 horsepower through a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. They're dropping down the engine capacity, well, the engine cylinder size, from going from 4-cylinder through to 3-cylinder, and maintaining better and higher efficiency, but higher torque figures and higher horsepower figures. So, I mean, it's all, I guess, about efficiency. You know, the farmers don't want to be burning through huge amounts of fuel to be able to maintain and do the work they need to do on the big jobs. I think the same with the 6700s. Instead of using a 6-cylinder, they're using a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine there as well. So again, a smaller engine that's supposed to be maintaining same torque power and the same horsepower as its predecessor 6-cylinders. And of course they're doing the same thing with the 6-cylinders from the 8-cylinders and so on. So they're managing to produce very good torque numbers and very good horsepower numbers, with more efficiency, less consumption of diesel or biofuel or whatever, to achieve, you know, the same goals that the older generation tractors did. Anyway, here we go. So we are now dropping our compost off, and we'll just empty it out here. This will generate us a little bit of money, but what will also happen is this machine that we're dropping it into will convert it into our liquid digestite, and then from there it can be used to make our fuel. So they look at that, 60,000 sterling, or 60,588 sterling has been generated for us. Thank you very much, that's much appreciated into the bank account. And then from there the machine will automatically whir away. We'll come over to the back here. We won't be able to pick up anything with this trailer. It's the wrong type of pickup device, but what we can do is we can see how much we've got in there. Okay, we're at over 1 million litres, so you can see I've been quite busy, but you can see it's going up there. It's 85% full. I'm going to try and keep on my own time, keep on filling that up until it gets to its 100%, so then that's going to keep me going for quite some time. Right, we'll drop this back to the main farmyard. Do we need anything? I'm just thinking, do we need to take a load back of anything? No, we'll do that on a future session. Alright, so See if we can't stay on the road. Past our machinery store. I am going to have to buy a couple of new headers for my harvesters, so I'll be able to harvest the sunflowers and the maize at some point, but I'll worry about that once the crops are ready to be harvested and I've finished off the harvest and the other big field, and we'll cover a little bit more about the harvesting. Oh, good grief. You're a 435 horsepower tractor pulling an empty trailer up a medium grade thing, and you're curious to the dynamics of the game. Anyway, here we go. We're going down the hill now. That shouldn't be any problem at all. Yes, we have the cars turned on this map. I think it just makes the map a little bit more realistic and not so lonely. When you sort of see cars around, it sort of brings up a community. I guess that there are other people around on the map. Now we're nearly at the entrance of the farm. And we'll pull in round to the right and to the left. As you see, I can get my lefts and rights moulded up so easily. Here we go. And we'll drop this guy off, put him back where he belongs on the old farmyard. There we go. Drop the trailer off. And this guy can go back in his sort of temporary home for the moment. There we go. That's just come on. We'll just have another quick look at these guys. There we go. I should really wash them. We'll do that on the next session anyway. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully we'll catch you again next time. Take care, and we'll see you again soon. We'll see ya.